looking back now, I didn't really big myself up as much as I should have in a way, because it was just like I was going with the flow. Mm-hmm. So as I was going with the flow, I met with her, whatever, and it was just like, oh wow, this is really dope. Like, I'm gonna work in the salon. But at that time, I still wasn't sure that was my thing. So I was still kind of like in the in-between of, well, if I get called for work, I got to go to work. I got to get that check. That phone bill due on 28th, etc. Bills, rent, whatever. So when she asked me in regards to my availability, I was like, I can be here full-time in a moment, but in exchange, I would get called back from work. I would just make this a part-time thing. So she was like, why part-time? Why would you make this your full-time thing? You could be your own boss. So she was planting a seed for me without me knowing. Yeah. Because it was like, being my own boss. Like, that's a risk you got to take, too. Right. No risk, no reward.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, you can pick a day. Got time for you. Always got time for you. Got time for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back with another banger, another good episode.
A good episode.
You know what I'm saying? Internet is Fiction, official episode 4. I have a very, 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 very special guest with me. Good friend. Yo, she could do the fuck out some hair. Y'all know it. Neek, what's going on?
Yo.
How was your week?
Blessed.
That's what's up. Blessed to the max over there.
It was a blessed week, Made it through another week, alive and well, good condition, favored. No complaints, really.
That's what's up. That's what's up, man. How life treating you right now?
Life right now, life is lifing.
Yeah.
And balance, good, bad, up, down, around, all type of things. Yeah. However, an exchange of life and learning how to keep a balance.
Okay, dig that.
Learning how to keep a balance, really taking things more at ease. As we know, being here today, going tomorrow.
For sure.
Being intentional about your days, making sure you love on your people. So yeah, life is lifing.
100%, life be lifing.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, how did you get into, well, for the people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what was your earlier life like growing up in the Bronx?
So, I'm a Bronx girl anyhow, but my heart is in Harlem.
Got that. Okay.
So, I'm known for being in Harlem, but I'm from the Bronx. I grew up, was raised in the Bronx, but I was in Harlem, just in an equal exchange. I have family in Harlem. So, growing up, I had a good childhood. I did. I feel like I grew up in two different experiences. Like when I was in the Bronx, it was chill. We would be at the park, chilling, talking, vibing. Uh-huh. When I was in Harlem, it was like more of a little bit entertainment, kind of like...
Harlem could be a movie.
Yeah. So it was just like, with that being said, it was a good childhood. And in my childhood, however, I've always had friends that became family, such as yourself.
That's a fact. You already know we go back.
Such as yourself. So it was a good childhood. It was a fun childhood. As far as the kids today in this generation,
yeah, it's wild.
I don't think they know what a childhood is. Like, I feel like we experienced childhood. We played games.
Yes.
We played manhunt without technology and the phones.
It's so different.
We talk. This is what I'm saying. Like, we would sit down in the park, talk. You had your crush.
To. That's a fact.
It was no phone interaction. So it was it was a real good childhood.
It's not, and we from the house phone era. It's like if you actually had to speak to a female or friend, you had to get on that house phone or the pay phone too. I remember the pay phone days too. You really had to really talk to somebody to interact with them. It's not, I'm not typing you and being you feel me? Let me type some bullshit to you. Like, you had to really speak to somebody.
You really had to speak.
And I think they really, not to shit on this generation, because y'all do some amazing, incredible things, but at the same time, y'all lack communication. And it's not your fault, but yes, technology has taken over a little bit.
Technology has taken over. To the exchanges, like, you have to learn how to use technology to your best advantage.
100%.
At the same time, because it could be informative, it could be a distraction, it could be just a series of things, however you choose to make it. And using your time on the internet, and I just feel like the difference in our generation, like right now, look at the shit we doing.
And I never saw me doing pod, ever.
Never, right?
We just spoke about that off the record. I never saw me.
But we was growing up in a generation of, like, really, like, an ambition, like, our role models was like doing shit in a way where we was like, you know what, we want to do shit too.
That's a fact.
So I feel like this generation is over sexualized.
Man, talk about it.
It's over sexualized. There's no guidance. There's no village. There's no real community leader. Nobody cares anymore.
Nobody cares.
We grew up, that's why I say a good childhood. We had people that in your neighborhood, your mother's next door neighbor seen you do something. Jamel, do you need me to tell your mother? They was not minding their business.
At all.
They was minding the business.
At all. They was not minding their business.
They was not minding the business.
I used to chill in front of the building, 10, 15 deep. Rest in peace, Mr. Richard come walking down. He walking through us. And dare you to say something. Because he telling your mother. You know what I'm saying? So
nowadays,
man.
You scared to say something because the kid's not scared of nothing.
Yeah, it's
they
wild.
Might take you down. You say something like, what, you running your mouth?
Yeah.
Being aggressive. First of all, they robbing old ladies.
Crazy.
That's crazy. They robbing old ladies. It's a lot of just unguidance, and it's just like, it's crazy. I feel like we didn't grow up like that. Like, you knew better. We had something to be afraid of. These kids today don't have nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, they're not afraid of nothing. They're scary. That's the scary part. They feel like they're not afraid of shit.
They're not afraid. I feel like, too, it's also influence that's condoned because kids are given a lot of leeway.
Yes.
Where it's taking your guidance outside of your home. If your mother feels like your choice in life is not okay, you can join this. And, everybody has a free will of freedom, but it's really separating the foundation of what we know as in a community.
You ain't lying about that shit.
So it's just like, damn, that's really crazy. Those are the kind of things I'm paying attention to because it's like...
You have a daughter?
I have a daughter. That's a fact. Whereas, like, I'm her first role model.
Yeah. So,
as I see everything going around or whatever the case may be, and this is her environment at the end of the day.
And I know for you, it gotta be scary. Like, how is it raising a teenage daughter in 2023? How old is she?
She's 14. God bless my girl.
Your twin.
Facts.
That's my twin. Yeah, y'all twinning for sure. What is that like, raising a 14-year-old daughter in the Bronx, Harlem, in 2023?
It's not easy.
Yeah.
However, in the knowing of how I pour into my child between myself and her dad, I know she's all right. Like, she could be in the fire. She could be in the mud. She gonna come out clean. Respectfully. However, she still have to find her own way.
Yes.
So as she's finding her way, it's just like, I talk to my daughter, listen, this is what's going on. Be aware of this and be aware of that. It's very black and white to her understanding and allowing her to be, because still she's a person. Regardless if she's my daughter, she's a person. So I have to understand her language too.
Yeah, that's important.
We can both be on the same page. I don't want to disconnect with my daughter. I don't want my daughter running outside the household that's being encouraged right now. I want my daughter to come to me and be like, Mom, I feel this way about this, or this is what's going on, and we do have that relationship. So that's why I don't worry. Not saying she ain't going whatever,
right.
But in the end, if it happens, and the lesson behind it, she's gonna know. I'm not gonna really do that again.
No, it's just dope to hear you even speak about even respecting your daughter as a person of her own. That's important. It's being a parent too. If you're a parent out there, you definitely want to respect the children as individuals as well. I think growing up, I want to say a lot of times, well, for me, speaking for myself, your parents, they always think they know what's best for you and not actually giving you a chance to express yourself. Like growing up, I was able to express myself to a certain extent. But I think it's parent nature for them to naturally think that they know what's best for you automatically.
Because of titles.
Yeah.
A parent is a guardian. You oversee. So I know better than you because I've been here longer than you.
True.
But you've been here based on your own experience.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it's like, all right, parent, but as a child, because it's like respect your elders, right?
Yeah.
So if you overexpress yourself, you're being disrespectful. But you're also being shunned of using your voice.
Absolutely.
So know that now those unexpressed emotions, you're just having to hold in. Because you were told to don't talk back. Who you talking to?
Especially in the black household.
Especially the black household.
I heard it for sure. Fuck you think you talking to? All they did was curse in my house.
And with that being
profanity,
said,
it was hard.
Profanity was hard.
Profanity.
And with that being said, that also brings me to the point of narcissism.
Yeah.
That is a characteristic of that.
Absolutely.
And which many people don't know what narcissism is.
I used to be narcissist, for sure.
Me as well.
I admit that. Everything is me. I want to look my best to impress other people. Like I wanted the world to kiss my ass in a sense. Like
and it's
I've
more
been that
so
person.
about being in control.
Definitely want to be in control.
Want to be in control.
I'm short, so you know what I'm saying. So I definitely had some narcissism, a little Napoleon complex from time to time. Mm-hmm. But as you grow into adulthood and you learn right from wrong, I also know how to check myself too and take accountability. Accountability is important.
It's like standing in the face of the man in the mirror.
Yes.
Because when you really think about it, it's just like, we know we have an ego. So when we're doing some of our most flawed things, we're operating out of our ego.
Yeah.
So you gotta really, really sit yourself down like, yo.
I'm tripping,
like for real. Like,
yeah,
cause we all know. Like when we do some shit that you shouldn't have did, but you want to be petty. Yeah.
Yeah, That's
I'm on bad timing.
That's why I don't respect people who don't take accountability. It's like you bugging.
You ain't perfect. Like you was not supposed to do that. You did it.
Exactly.
You said didn't give a fuck because you was putting yourself before anything. And which, don't get me wrong, in life that is the golden rule. However, in exchange of how are you crossing over on the person that in exchange you're choosing to deal with, though.
Yeah.
So it's just like you gotta learn to pick your battles.
Absolutely.
And your egos. That's a fact.
I feel that.
Because, like, back to lifing, and honestly, just a lot of just negative energy, darkness, and crimes of violence, and everything that's going on. It's like, it's crazy, right? So, in your act of ego, right now, it's not even best for you to get into arguments with a stranger walking the street.
Hell no.
You don't know how you might leave away from the argument.
Yeah, it's treacherous out here.
Cause everybody's going through their own shit in a way, and it'll take the least smallest thing just to trigger and just boom in the New York minute. And
that shit is scary itself. Like
that is just like.
And at times I'm like that. I go through those phases where sometimes I want to knock somebody's head off, and I think I'm like, yo. You do something to this person, he fall out. You done wasted everything you done worked for. For what? You feel me? For your ego, you know what I'm saying? To feel like a macho man. Nah, let that. As I gotten older, I learned I let a lot of shit slide. Don't get me wrong, don't play with me, but at the same time, I let a lot slide.
Don't play with it. Come on, man, don't play with it.
I let a lot of things slide too, though. Just in my older age, just knowing like it ain't worth it. You got to know when it's not worth it.
That's a fact.
Especially when you got so much to look forward to.
That's a fact, right? So to piggyback off that, right? Shout out to my dad, because that's something that was instilled in me by my dad. So at one point in time, I was going through a situation, this girl, whatever. He's like, listen, let me tell you something. Never react. And I'm like, what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm a cool, passive person.
Yeah. Which is
so I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
I mean, everybody has their perspectives or whatever, but nonetheless, it's just like, naturally, I'm a chill, vibey person. I don't like confrontation, like, you know?
Yeah.
So I was bothered. I was triggered. I was angry. Ego was egoing, like, he's
Ready
like, you
to
gotta,
have it.
yeah, he's like, you gotta relax.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm always relaxed, but I'm human. He's like, yeah, but see, when you allow a person to take you out of character, they have control.
Yeah.
And for me, enough was said, because I'm like, I don't like people to feel like they got something over me. It's just something that don't sit well with me.
It don't sit well with my spirit.
I'm not gonna give you that. So now I gotta play smarter, not harder. It's chess, not checkers. So the less I react to you is really pissing you off, right? Because then you know what also comes into play, that authenticity. You're really mad about me being who I am, and why the fuck am I gonna be reacting to you to prove who I am? Because you feel away.
You be surprised at so many people that hate you for no reason, and you won't even understand it. Like, damn.
Child, listen.
I done had dudes who I show massive amounts of love to, and then found out they was hating on me in the low, and I didn't understand. I'm like, I'm the coolest. You meet me, I'm cooler than the other side of the pillow, dog. Like, but I come to realize it's not for me to understand. I ain't no hater, so it's not for. I don't understand that language. It ain't for me to understand. You know what I'm saying?
We need like a bell right now.
I got you right now. So that's an applause. I hit the applause button. It ain't for me to understand.
Yeah.
Like, it just is what it is.
That's a fact.
It's not for me.
That's a big fact. So, in one of my younger lessons in being a teenager and understanding that, it's so funny, right? Because I feel like I was prepared for that all my life. But I'm such a genuine, sweet person that from my cousins and, oh, you're a pretty girl, people, and it's like, why would people be mean to me? I'm not mean to people. Yeah. But it's like, no, because people will just naturally not like you. It's like,
this is true.
That don't make sense.
It don't, but it happens.
I started going through things in exchange of jealousy where I was like, oh shit, it's making sense now. It's adding up.
Yeah.
So now it's just like, damn, that's really crazy, because it's like, you don't even know what I've been through. For an even exchange of having a disliking where, in however way I'm showing up that is an intimidation to you, I done have been through some type of shit.
That you wouldn't even understand.
You wouldn't even understand.
Yeah, I get it.
You know what just came to mind?
What's that?
A boogie.
Yeah.
I was walking through the rain with my Timbs on. You wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, bet. However, what I've been learning recently in occurrences like that, I don't try to feed off of the flawed part about it. Like, oh, yeah. You know why? Because there's some disconnect and difference with the person within themselves. Yeah. As to me being an intimidation, that don't got nothing to do with me. So I don't personalize it. Right. Because I ain't got time to worry about things like that, really, and honestly.
You can't worry about things. That's what, it's the biggest thing I learned. You cannot worry about things that you can't control.
You can't control. Because people going to be who they are when they show you who they are. Just believe them.
Believe them, for sure.
It's as simple as that for me. Because
and never my bad, never don't overdo your part, right? Because we can, especially being good-hearted people, we will try to fit in and like somebody and want them to like you back for whatever reason. And it's like, nah, I'm not saying that we gotta match energy, but at the same time, it's like, don't be no ass kisser either. You know when somebody ain't feeling you like that.
You definitely know.
You know what I mean? Let it go. Like, right. I'm not about to, for example, you keep showing up for somebody, you going to their parties, you going, they hitting you up, but they never show up for you. It's like, nah, we not doing that.
That's
you can't be no sucker.
You can't. But it's more about just don't be over pouring in cups.
Yeah.
If they not pouring back into yours. That's my analogy right now. Like, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with being a genuine person. And in the world that we live in, is like, to be a genuine person is like an outcast because, like, you too soft.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? I'm just trying to get out what I'm trying to get in return when I'm putting out.
A girl told me that one time. A girl I was dating. She was like, yo, you too nice. And I ain't understand that shit. And I'm like, yo, what you mean? She's like, yo, you a sweetheart. Like, you're way too nice. And I'm like, so you want me to choke you up? Like, you want me like, huh? Like, I'm not.
Like, yeah.
And I'm just like, that ain't my speed. I stop fucking with her. Like, that's just not, I can't be who you want me to be.
And you know what? In that exchange, that's just because that's a person's experience where they're conditioned to their trauma.
Yes.
They would rather a person like wilding them up and making them trigger because it's an unhealed wound.
Yeah. Then I move, right? I come back to New York. I was living in Texas at that time. When I moved back, I'm like, oh, I miss you so much. You was such a nice guy. Now I'm everything you need because I'm not here anymore. And that showed me to, sometimes you got to take your presence away to make people appreciate that gift.
That's a fact.
You know?
People be acting like they don't be knowing that the people they with is really larger than the making, but you know?
Let's talk about, you do, like I said in the beginning, you do the fuck out some hair. How did you even get into, like, I guess we could say cosmetology? Is that considered cosmetology?
Yeah, it is. I feel like I did come into it, but it was just something that was with me and I had to learn the discovery of it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I've known how to do hair since I've been a teenager. I would say I started around like 14, 15-ish or whatever, just by visual. Like I would just watch
watching people.
Yeah, I would just watch people. My godmother, she worked in the salon, she would do hair. Like, I'm a visual learner. Like, I could just watch a small display of a video and study it and be like, okay, let me try it and remember it.
Me too.
So I started doing little things. I started doing roller sets. I started doing Shirley temples for my curl, my friends, I should say. And they was with it. Like, they was my mannequins, my
That's
real,
what's
like,
up.
we vibing. We in the crib. It's LimeWire days. We got a
LimeWire, wow.
Exactly. That's how you know.
He said it's LimeWire days.
LimeWire
We
days.
stealing that music, you heard?
Word.
Way
so
before
it's
the
just like,
streaming. We showing age right now, too.
I mean, but it look good for my age, so whatever.
Talk about it.
But yeah, so that's was the becoming of it, right? But again, at that time, at my life, I didn't know it was a thing. It was just something I was doing. I just knew how to do. Even on myself, I would roller set my hair, pink curl, like everything. Put a little color, get in trouble, like, who told you to dye your hair? But it's like, hello, I'm an artist. I'm just being creative.
Yeah,
Like,
expressing yourself.
I'm expressing myself.
Yeah.
But going along, now I'm a teenager. You go to high school, whatever. I was a little rebellious in high school.
Yeah? How so?
Actually, I take that back. I wouldn't say rebellious. Like, I've always been a good kid. But you go into high school, you go through a series of just... High school is an experience.
Hell yeah.
I feel like high school leads you up to you figuring out who you are because, remember, you're going into different social setting groups.
It's different type of people.
So you do feel like you got to prove yourself in a way. You got to stand your ground. You got to be like, listen, I ain't know, whatever.
Yeah.
So in high school, I had a few exchanges that, like, wasn't really leading on the right path, getting in trouble, fights and things like that. But I learned very great value in those experiences because it was like I was showing up as a person that was reacting off a trigger and feeling like in the defense is what I got to do to protect myself.
Gotcha.
Type thing. So in those occurrences, seeing how escalated I could get in an exchange of the trouble that followed behind the choice I was making, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like being in trouble.
Yeah.
Really, it's just like, what the fuck? Because it's like, I'm not thinking before I'm reacting. At the end of the day, I reacted before I was thinking. That's what led me here. However, again, we still have pushing points with sometimes, but it was just like a very big learning lesson for me that kept me in the coming of age to be like chill about things. Like,
Yeah.
nah, it's not really worth my energy. And people would always feel like, you're too nice. But it's like, I'm not confrontational. Like,
Yeah.
I just rather things be don't. So that was a really big lesson for me in coming into the whole journey of becoming a hairstylist, because it was just like, okay, I'm going through school. That's when you're figuring out what you want to do in life, right?
Yeah.
So for the most part, people would tell you, go to school, get an education, go to college. But it was just like, that sounds boring to me. And not really being sure what I really want to do.
Yeah.
It's like, why I'm going to go to school to be in debt? To be confused about something that I don't really feel in my heart that I want to do.
You paying somebody back on some shit that you never really wanted to do in the first place.
It didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I get it.
So I went to school. I graduated. Shortly after that, I had my daughter when I was 20.
Okay.
So it was like, now I'm a mom and things like that. And
you said you had her at 20?
Yeah. So
you became a mom. Like, so you didn't really even get to I'm not gonna say
and I get where you're trying to go. Yeah, no, seriously.
Your 20s was like, I'm a mom now.
I'm a mom now. I don't want to say it take. However, it was just like, now I have to be responsible for somebody else. I don't really have time to figure me out. I have to be this. I have to be a mom.
Yes.
Right? So I'm being a mom or whatever. Now, as a being a mom, you go to work to provide for your children, et cetera, et cetera. As far as my work background, it's particularly like customer service, healthcare.
Okay.
So corporate, rather. I feel like during those experiences, I quickly was learning that, like, and working a 9 to 5, it wasn't my thing. Yeah. Like, I had to do what I had to do because you have to provide and you have bills, but it was just like, life happens, right? Because life be lifing. So it's like, if I wake up and my daughter's sick and I'm running behind late, but I'm just starting a new job and I'm on probation, I can't be late.
Yeah,
it's just
that 90-day period be a motherfucker.
Right. So it's just like, and dealing with exchanges like that and working for companies, and then sometimes exchanges having to be let go because I'm not meeting company compliance. Yeah. It was like, what the fuck? So quickly after working at like one of my last jobs before I really started coming into doing hair, I got let go. And at the time when I had got let go, it was just like, okay, whatever. Mm. And it was like, okay, whatever, because prior to being let go...
Were you nervous, like trying to figure out what's next?
Partially.
Okay.
Right? Prior to being let go, I had went on a family vacation. This what kind of drew apart to me being let go. I had went on a family vacation, and prior to going, I wanted my hairstyle. This is when the ponytail started to really start emerging. And I asked somebody else to do my hair initially. I was like, hey, can you do my hair, whatever? And it was like, oh, I wouldn't be able to, whatever. So I was like, can you just tell me what you used? She's like, yeah, of course, or whatever. Because, of course, I've known how to do a ponytail. Like, I was in the house doing wash and set to pick her. It's like, she's like, yeah, just get this, that, and third, whatever. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I probably watched a video or something. And I did the ponytail. But when I did the ponytail, it wasn't like a regular ponytail. Okay. I had like a little French braid in the front. It was
styled it up.
Yeah, do a little. So it was like, oh, your hair is so nice. Who did your hair? And I was like, I did. I was like, what, girl? Oh my God, that's a nice ponytail. You need to do my ponytail. It's like for real.
Clientele coming like clockwork.
And it's like, no, for real. So it just started out like a thing. One person, I did their ponytail. So it was like, oh, okay, that person went out and it was like in the world and it was like, that's a nice ponytail. Who did your ponytail? Oh, this girl went to... And at that time, remember, it's not a knowing for me that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. It's just coming to me. So I'm just like, okay, 1 ponytail, 2 ponytail, 3 ponytail. Now, fast forward, so this is during like prior to me getting let go from the job. It's like before I got let go, I started to hustle. So when I got let go, I was like, because I had started something. I was like, oh shit, I started something on the grind. I'm getting a little couple dollars from. Like, I'll be okay. But still, I was still attached to the whole security of getting a check. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I gotta go back to work though. Like, this is okay, but I'm going back to work. I'm getting in a union. I'm like, they're not gonna play with me the next time, whatever. Yeah. In the midst of that, I'm growing a small clientele. So it was like, okay, in exchange of that, you're perfecting your craft. Yeah. Without you knowing. So it's like I'm getting better and better, and then I'm growing the clientele because it's through word of mouth. Because I'm not really knowing this is my thing. I'm playing around. Yeah. So it's just like, it's just like, oh, it's like, okay, cool.
It's something about your aura, I know.
So you was given the opportunity to work in a salon.
Yes. And that was really something that just fell into my lap.
Dope.
And when it happened, it was just like, oh, okay. So pretty much one of my good friends of mine, his aunt was opening a salon, a natural hair salon at that. And he was like, yo, my aunt's opening this spot up or whatever. Like, I told her, like, ooh, official, da-da-da, show her your work. She interested. I'm like, word? Like, the fact that he even thought of me for that opportunity was dope anyway. That just goes to show where you have people speaking for you in rooms where your name need to be mentioned.
Yeah, I was talking to a barber one time, and he was like, for people who do hair, it's no need for marketing. The person, when you do a person's hair correctly, that is the advertisement.
That's the advertisement.
You know what I'm saying?
Right? So from there, I met with his aunt or whatever. It was like, all right, bet, this is what I'm doing. And again, I was doing this without a plan. So I was like, wow, this is dope. I feel like looking back now, I didn't really big myself up as much as I should have in a way. Because it was just like I was going with the flow. Mm-hmm. So as I was going with the flow, I met with her, whatever, and it was just like, oh, wow, this is really dope. Like, I'm going to work in the salon. But at that time, I still wasn't sure that was my thing. So I was still kind of like in the in-between of, well, if I get called for work, I got to go to work. I got to get that check. That phone bill due on 28th, et cetera, bills, rent, whatever. So when she asked me in regards to my availability, I was like, I can be here full time in a moment, but in exchange, I'll get called back from work. I would just make this a part-time thing. So she was like, why part-time? Why would you make this your full-time thing? You could be your own boss. So she was planting a seed for me without me knowing. Yeah. Because it was like, being my own boss. Like, that's a risk you got to take, too. Right. No risk, no reward. So I'm like, be my own boss. I'm a mom, so things be happening with lifing and,
For sure.
So I'm like, I'm open-minded. So I was like, what's the worst I can do but try? So I'm like, okay. I switched the perspective of like, all right, I'll try it out. In the experience of just being in a shop, it was like, I like this. This is cool. I'm making my own money. I'm making my own schedule. Yeah. I have support, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. It's not feeling like work.
That's important.
That's very important. So it's just like, okay, in exchange of the experience and with dealing with natural hair being a whole different challenge, I started learning my potential. So I was perfecting my craft too along the way. Because my clientele is growing. And my clientele is growing more in exchange of word of mouth. I wasn't really into marketing, and because it was just like, for me, it was just like, it was a hobby. Yeah. Turning into a thing, but I don't know, whatever. but it was flowing because within my first professional year, I started knowing that I had to take it serious, that this was my thing because because God's been first in everything that has been coming in together for me.
Yes.
It was like, shoot. He was like, it was like, again, falling. It was easy.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity to get 2 bookings for a wedding in my first professional year. Unattended. I never even thought to do a wedding. I never even thought to do a bridesmaid hair or 5 ponytails. And shout out to my support system, my friend Laurel. I love you, baby, because
shout out to you.
She was definitely one of them ones that at the time, her good friend was getting married. She was like, I got a good referral. Again, word of mouth. No advertisement. I mean, advertisement.
That is the advertisement.
But,
that's the advertisement.
Yeah, but letting your work speak for itself, so to speak.
It's like being a dope rapper, right? It's like somebody hear music, you be like, yo, he nice.
Right.
Know? It's word of mouth. Word
of mouth. So I was like, oh, shit. So after that point in time in my career, so I should say, I'm like, okay, I need to take this a little more serious. Now, I'm like, okay, let me go on and enroll in cosmetology school.
Nice.
Let me really turn this into something because this is flowing in a way that I'm at a better peace from when I was punching the clock. So we're just like, and it's just setting an example. Again, having a daughter, it's just like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put myself up for the challenge. I don't know what's going to come with it, but I trust it. I like how it's feeling right now. It feels good.
Trust in the process.
Trust in the process. So, went through cosmetology school, whatever. Then the pandemic happened.
Yo, wow. Because the guest right before you, not similar situation, totally different, but the pandemic happened and it stopped a certain situation in that. Make sure you'll watch episode 3. But yo, talk about it.
Pandemic happened, right? But what was so crazy and like the grustle of this little thing of mine, prior to the pandemic, once I got in the scope of school, now I'm building my foundation. I'm going to school. I'm learning a business aspect of what I'm doing. Nice. Regardless of a talent of what I know, I'm learning a business aspect. So now learning a business aspect, it's really putting me more into the line of entrepreneurship because now I'm like more eager to do more things now. Now I'm setting a goal. I'm setting like, okay, well, this is what I want to do. And this is what I have to do this or et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So prior to quarantine, the pandemic, I had decided to stop working in a salon because I was going back to school full time.
Got you.
So I started going to school full time, working part time with my clients, working from home. And then in exchange of my services, I had met a client. And with this particular client, prior to meeting this client, I've always felt like I wanted to do something that I didn't understand what I wanted to do, but it was just something in a way of like, I would say building a community. Yeah. Where it's like, I wanted people to get together and feel good and we empower each other and, we're just an inspiration to each other. I didn't know what it was. And I also had shared my vision with another good friend of mine, Erica, my baby, a long time ago, probably right before I became a mom. So it was just like, as I was going along my journey and my process, I was like, wow, like I'm understanding why everything was happening in the way of why it was happening, right? So I'm going through school, whatever. Prior to the pandemic, the client that I had serviced one day, she happened to be a program director in a nonprofit organization. and me sharing the story, just like I'm doing with you. She was like, oh my God, like that is so like inspiring. Like, you know, whatever. She's like, I run a program with some young kids and I'm looking for a youth advisor.
Nice.
To, you know, come instruct the kids or whatever. You can teach them all about, you know, how you started doing hair. You could teach them sessions, and because remember it's the natural hair care. Maybe I was like, dope. Fell into my lap. So I'm like, nah, God, you're showing off right now. Like, because I told you things that I wanted to do that now you presented it to me where
Manifestation
and living in answered prayers.
Yes.
Living in answered prayers. That's why
I gotta stop. Yo, God is important.
God is important. God is the source of everything.
For real, really though. Like
everything.
When you lost in the sauce and you feeling like you can't get up out that water, reach your hand out up to God. I promise you, He's gonna pull you out.
Even in God or energy or universe, whichever reference or verbiage you want to use to, you know, shed light on you knowing that there's something bigger than you that helped you lead yourself along the way to them storms that you went through to really get to who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. It's a different type of embracing. So going back to the pandemic, you know, they say you got to work hard. I burnt myself out. Going to school full time, having a clientele part time, and then working a secondary job. But I was still doing what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? But it was like I was tired. And then the pandemic happened. It said, everybody be still.
It was sad, especially for those of us who lost loved ones. I lost some people. But at the same time, it was a blessing because I think we all needed, God knew the world needed that standstill, that sit down.
A blessing in disguise.
It was a blessing in disguise. We all needed that shit. And it brought so much togetherness.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The purpose of it, right? Mm-hmm. I feel was in reason to bring people to their source of themselves too. Because you had to sit with yourself. That was the thing. It was no distraction. You couldn't go nowhere. You couldn't do nothing. It's no working.
It was a real test of who are you for real. You know what I'm saying?
Either you going to fold or you going to stay tenfold.
Yes.
The choice is yours.
A lot of people fail after, because you can see after the pandemic, and you know, like, okay, that was that. And no disrespect, that was that pandemic money. Like, you could see who made something of themselves and who bullshitted with time. You can't bullshit with time.
You can't, because time will bullshit you.
For sure. You can't bullshit with time.
The pandemic really did what it needed to do for me, because then it put me more into the like understanding, like, oh my God, this is really my shit. I started sitting down, I started studying things. I was taking webinars. I was doing things to learn how to become a better businesswoman. Yeah.
I'm a big fan of I'm a YouTube University student. I go on YouTube for everything.
And it was not even only YouTube. It was YouTube, it was Instagram, it was TikTok, it was all these things. And it was just even an exchange of the crossing of the path of the line of the woman I was meeting that was bringing insight of information to me.
That's what's up.
That it was like, yo, this is crazy right now. So during quarantine, it's like I'm perfecting my craft. I'm learning things, I'm studying things, but I'm also building my relationship with God. Yeah. Because during those times, you needed to have faith.
For sure.
We were surrounded by so much fear. And I started also realizing the negative effect the fear was having just on my mental. That was bothering me. It was bothering me like, wow. It's real intense. Like, everybody's scared. Everybody's, it's not a lot of encouragement right now. Like, what the heck is going on? So, in between quarantine and sitting and taking in things and building my relationship with God, He was showing me things that I was like, wow. He was showing me things in exchange of me being forced to look at things completely different. That it was like, that old way is not supposed to work no more. Yeah. You got to be uncomfortable for a reason.
Oh, man, I go through that so much.
The uncomfortable for a reason started hitting different. And just in the realization what was happening in the world, it was like, oh, okay, all right. So with quarantine, really for the betterment of people that really was like, you know, listen, I'm gonna come out this kind of person because this is different. I gotta set myself up for the future.
Facts.
Because what just happened, how everything was just
Thanos gone. So many businesses shut down.
But then look how the reverse of that and the blessing in disguise, how small business started immersing. Entrepreneurship started immersing. You couldn't rely on the corporations. You had to go to the small business people for certain things.
Facts.
Now people coming out podcasts. Greases. Facials, all type of stuff. People were sitting down like, I gotta find a way to make money. I gotta find a way to figure, like, hold on. And the information is out there. All you gotta do is sit down and study and be still and cut out the distractions.
For sure.
So it was like, all right.
You gotta starve your distractions and feed your focus.
That's a fact. So that's what that was doing for me. So now on the coming up of now everything is opening up or whatever. At that time, prior, I started resurfacing from my house, but now my clientele is emerging. So it's like, oh, hold on.
Yeah.
We might gotta, switch this up a little bit, make this more on a professional exchange. Not saying that it wasn't professional starting from home, because you have very successful home-based stylists, But with my vision, it was just like, okay, I'm ready to go to the next step now. So in that exchange, like, all right, I'm ready back for the salon. Let's go back in the salon now. So once things started opening up and there was lifted restrictions, I went back in the salon in Harlem, actually in a neighborhood that I'm known from. And in the becoming of that, shout out to my cousin Dee Dee. When I was telling her, like, yeah, I'm ready to go back in the shop, but I'm a little conflicted. I don't know if I want to stay in the Bronx or if I want to come down to Harlem. She was like, you know what? I'm going to talk to somebody for you. My hairstylist I work with, she got space. I'm going to see if it's available. And I'm like, all right, cool. She put the word in for me. And next thing I know, she's like, yeah, call her up, talk to her. I was in a salon.
Fire.
So it was just like, all right, I was in the salon. Now my focus was different because I was like predominantly like on the scale of, all right, what's my mission for my business, right? And I'm like, natural hair. That it's things that's going on, but it's like, it's the service of it. Like taking care of your hair, treating your hair, and for your hair not to have to be chemically processed for it to be healthy. I started like really breaking down the science of it. So now I'm studying it. And what forced me more into studying natural hair and things that have changed is because when I started off with the ponytails, from my experience, some clients will have different experiences with their style. Got you. It was like, hold on. I'm such a person that always taking in information. I'm like, I like to resolve things. I'm like, this not working. Why is this not working? So it's just like, okay, now I started learning that through exchanging of dealing with my majority of my clientele is natural hair based. Like they're natural. So it was like, I got to figure out what do I have to do to sustain the hair to get this result.
Nah, the pictures on your page is phenomenal. I'll be like, oh, she's
to get this result. And then also in the knowing and things falling into my lap. When it came to a point when I got my first client from another borough, Queens, so I don't remember particularly, but I was like, oh shit, she came to get her hair done by me? And she came from Queens, or she came from Jersey, or she came from...
Motherfuckers start traveling, you know it's real. You know it's real. That's different.
So I was like, okay. So going back in the salon, I had a whole, different dynamic, and thing was flourishing. It was growing. It was just like, wow, this is this little thing of mine. So it just gave me the encouragement to just stick with it. Even though I didn't know like how to do it. Nobody was holding my hand. I was just figuring it out.
As you go.
But when I go back to my teenage years, this is why it always pays to keep a surrounding of a circle of people that pour into you. Because now when I sit back and I reflect, when I was coming of age, I was always told, like, you're so dope, you're so this, that, and third, you're going to do something. And at that time, I did not know what it was. But people were pouring into me because they seen it before I did. Like, you're going to do something, I don't know. Maybe if you make this or whatever, but I always been very crafty. Like, I also went to fashion industry, high school.
Nice.
I did. So it was like, that was the artist in me too, right? So back in those days, I was doing all types of stuff. I was doing hair. Going back to when I started with the hair, I was doing hair. I started making little jewelry. I was customizing, ripping up my jeans. Like, it's just a part of the nature of being an artist in a way.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, it was like, okay, you gotta learn to use your art to make your living. Because it's beneficial for you.
Take notes. You heard that?
And it is coming at ease. There's no pressure. And it's liberation. Freedom. Freedom, because now I get a choice. I'm not going by somebody dictating, and there's no limitation.
Yeah.
I could punch out whatever I want to say, oh, in this cap, I only want to, et cetera, to just be able to just have those days I want to be with my daughter.
You ever have family that want that family discount?
So.
That feel entitled, like, oh, I'm your cousin. You need, you should. You ever get that?
In exchange, yeah, but I would say it's like a give and exchange where it may be like, the person may show up in my life for me in ways that sometimes you might feel like the expectations, like, well, if I, it's kind of common nature, I feel like, in our society in a way, like,
it's a barter system.
That's a whole kind of other topic, but I do, however, with that being said, I will say that you also have to teach people how to respect you.
Boundaries.
So that's another thing that I've really gotten into with having a business is boundaries. Because to one point, being so much in the servicing of people, it's like I'm overpouring into people's cup and not filling myself at the same time. So it was like, wait a minute, I got to draw a boundary. I got to be like, today I got to put me first before this job. I am human, and I'm having a moment. I don't feel good or whatever the exchange, whatever it may be, and I have to show up for me. Even learning how to really be like, no, these are my day offs. Do not come, like, for real. Like, I have to have a day for I have to have a day for me.
I'm so big on me time. Like, I'm so big on me time. I have to have it. I'm an introvert, so I really have to recharge, yo.
Seriously. And when I think about it, it's like, for me, it's beyond just doing hair and taking care of the girls' hair and making their hair grow and educating them and making them look nice or whatever. It's more so still like, it's also therapeutic.
Yeah, you did say that in the comments, hair therapy.
Hair therapy. It is hair therapy because for me, one thing I learned from going into school was to basically, within your business, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, what's going to be your thing to retain your consumers? You have to give your consumer an experience.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to make this experience in exchange of how I want to be treated, right? So for me, I'm very big on self-care. So I was just like, when I have the, going about of getting my hair done or services, like, I want to feel relaxed. That's your day where if you work your job Monday through Friday, you're going to get your hair done, you should be able to relax, right?
Absolutely.
But for most of us women, it's like more so, I need to get in and get out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, right? Yeah. Some this is my way of what I'm going to tweak this. So within my natural hair services, I started doing things like scalp massage and therapeutic things, right? So now that's getting you in a relaxed state. And then there's also the rapport. When you come, I'm making sure you're comfortable. I'm engaging. So now we're just naturally flowing. We're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. We're finding things we can resonate on or relate to. We're like, what, girl? So now it's just like, oh my God, not only am I doing a service to women, this is also like a sisterhood.
I get that. That makes sense.
We really like, letting it off. And as we're talking, you getting your edges together and you getting some insight of some information. You come to me, hey, Neek, I'm trying to make my hair thick. And I'm like, okay, well, the problem is XYZ. You need to trim your ends. If you come every 2 weeks, you get a deep conditioning. Even if you don't come, I'm still giving you tools that even if you don't come, in exchange that I don't retain you as a reoccurring client, you still leave me with something.
That's dope.
So
for real.
That's what has made my brand successful, and the coming of what's even more to come of it, and just me understanding my journey too. Like, wow, this is inspiring.
For real. Because
this all started without an idea.
Yeah. Came out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, but at the same time, yeah.
It's like it came out of nowhere, but at the same time, it was divine.
Yeah.
But what I love about the whole journey and experience the most is how it really has led me closer to God. Like, that's just number one, because...
So you're really spiritual.
Yes. And quarantine also was like enticing to that too, because for me, it was just like, you look on the TV, you hear things, it's just evil, this, that, fear, that. It's like, I have to have some type of substance so that I don't go crazy.
You feel like you found your purpose in life?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I definitely do. And the coming of finding a purpose through the trials and the tribulations.
Yeah, it's either going to make you or break you. I get it.
Either it's going to make you, it's going to break you. But even the things that you might feel that are like coming against you and a breaking is not happening to you, it's happening for you, because you're being led to be built in character.
What would you say to a person that's watching this that may be unsure of themselves and they don't know what paths or what it takes to get into any type of business?
Love yourself.
Self-love is important.
Love yourself. See, I feel as this. We live in a society that separates you from loving yourself. It's like we're kind of taught to fall in love with things.
Materialism?
Yes. More than yourself. So you're falling in love with the idea of obtaining certain things or reaching a certain level or status in life. But at the same time, it's like, but what's up with you?
Yeah.
Who are you? Yeah. You're like, and you got to sometimes take wait a minute, who am I? And that's a question that some people can't answer.
No, I've been there before.
Some people can't answer. What am I supposed to do in life? And I feel like for me, in that question, it's just like, there's never no like real like, oh, well, you're supposed to find your purpose. It's just a journey that you have to go on.
Yeah.
Really, or honesty. But again, back to loving yourself. Knowing that you are important. Only you can validate yourself. Try not to be consumed by people's projections of their idea of who you're supposed to be. And just listen. I'm showing up for myself. I'm not being attached to nobody's idea of my mother, my father, whoever. Oh, no. This is what I'm going to do. And that takes a lot of willpower.
For sure.
It's not something that is just like a piece of cake. It's really not. But with determination, it goes hand in hand. Where it's just like, it's less about proving yourself to people and more about proving yourself to you and who you know you're supposed to even be, or you just knowing that
Yeah. Now, it's definitely important to love yourself and big yourself up and believe in who you are.
That's a fact. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who else will, right? At the end of the day, nobody going to show up for you like you show up for yourself.
100%.
Who's going to know you better than you?
Nobody.
So I feel like also in life we go through exchanges where we get taken away from figuring out who we are, right? Mm-hmm. Just like for me going back to, I began to be a mother at the age of 20. I had to be a mom. So in that whole scope of 20s where it's just like, you know, society's like, oh, people go to college, da, da, da. I was being a mom. So I had to pour into my daughter. Not saying I was in love with myself, but it was like my main goal was to take care.
You had somebody else to care for other than yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's like, who am I outside of being a mother?
I think so many mothers get lost in that too. And you could tell, like, respectfully, the mothers who only post the kids all day, and it's like, all right, there's nothing wrong with that, but who are you? Like, who was the person before these children? And I feel like a lot of women get lost in that.
That's a fact.
And tell themselves, I can't do this because I'm a mother. I can't do that. Nah, live your life, yo. Mm-hmm. For real. And I'm not saying be irresponsible, but definitely don't forget to live your life because you were who you were before they got here. Yeah.
So and with that being said, it was just like, oh, okay. So, you know, just taking in the importance of everything, just aiding into me figuring out who am I.
Dig that.
Where now it's just like an exchange of experiences, and people was like, this is why I would say my relationship with just being spiritual grew, because it was like, this is something bigger than me. Like, this is me, but there's something else that's giving me like this encouragement, this push, this like, it doesn't matter whatever else anybody's saying.
Yeah.
So it was just like, wow, okay. And again, just like engaging opportunities of a service, being a youth advisor or whatnot, that it was like, no. This is God. This is God.
Yes.
And giving the gratitude of it, because it's just like, I remember when I was at that place before of not knowing what was going on.
What's your skincare routine? I must ask.
Drinking your water and minding your business.
There you have it. Skin is flawless, man.
Thank you. I'm a very much so big self-care junkie. That goes back to self-love, honestly.
It do, for
because real. I'm very big on doing things to make myself feel good. And for me, it's like when you look good, you feel good.
Absolutely.
You look good, you feel good. But in addition to that, it's also upon your lifestyle. Right? Mm-hmm. You're dieting, now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm some perfected person that goes to sleep at 9 p.m. and all of that. Hold on. However, for the most part, I eat a decent form of a diet. Like, okay. I really don't eat beef like that. Every now and then, I'm greedy, so I'm getting a little slap.
Yeah.
But I don't really eat a lot of beef. I don't really eat pork. I eat my chicken, seafood. But then in between, I'm also like a holistic junkie.
Okay.
I like things that don't require me to take medicine. So it's just like, or rather things that's going to have a alternative, a long-term effect. It's like, I'm not really into all that stuff. So I'll be online, coming across information like, where? Lemon and sugar? All right, let me go in the kitchen, whip that up, use that instead of having to pay. And nothing's wrong with, having luxury cosmetic brands, but ain't nothing like some natural ingredients you could use and drinking some water.
I found out that certain vegetables was like man-made, like cauliflower,
that's
broccoli,
a whole nother topic.
Carrots, and I'm like, damn, the carrots and the broccoli ain't really no good. I didn't know that.
Right. So with that being said, for me in particular, it's like I'm not with it.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell you trying to do to me? Like, and another thing, right? Health being so big. For me, the importance of keeping up on my skin and just things that I consume is because we got to fight to live out here right now.
Really, though.
You really got to fight to live. So you have to make wise choices about the things that you are incorporating in your sense of your lifestyle.
And daily routine.
In your daily routine. From the people that you be with every day, the conversations you engage with, the foods that you eat.
What you watch.
The environment, what you watch, what you hear. Like, it.
Yes.
The list is long. So, I'm like, okay, knowing that I know I have a choice, let me be selective about the things that I'm choosing.
Yeah.
And if I'm choosing, to be quite honest, it's going to be like, an exchange of a nice experience. It's going to be the exchange of like good quality. So I should say, so it's like, yeah, no.
If somebody wanted to get their hair done right now, somebody go to your page, where could they find you at?
So I have 2 pages. You can find me at Neek_Neek. You can also follow me on my business page, Fleeked by _Neek. So yeah, that's where you can find me. I also have a booking site in the link of both of my bios, and I'm located in Harlem currently. And
okay.
Yeah, come holler at me. If you're trying to do something with your hair, you want to grow down past your shoulders or whatever, I'm the person to come see. Also, you want to get the swoops and the edges and the ponytails.
You know what I'm talking about? So yeah, man, you heard it here. Yeah, I appreciate you being here. The conversation is always dope. Always. You definitely have to come back.
Yes.
Off the record, we was talking about some shit. So, yo, thank you.
You already know.
I'm your host, Jamel Malik, a.k.a. Mac Melly. This is The Internet is Fiction. Y'all have a good day, night, week, month. Peace and blessings, man.
You already more life.